The Broughton Palace was perhaps the nicest hotel I had ever stayed at. Dozens of floors, casinos, buffets, an Olympic-sized swimming pool, and it even had a massive arcade. Just one of the many perks of this sweet-ass job. I thought to myself. I was hired by this marketing firm, Loomis Company, due to my past work as a war photojournalist. It wasn't a career shift I necessarily expected, but the morbid affairs of war and American politics took their toll on my psyche, and my shrink recommended something tamer to offset the years of depravity I saw firsthand. To my surprise, it didn't take long to find this new job. In fact, it found me. The people who hired me were chomping at the bit to get me into their ranks, saying that they specialized in scouting popular locations with hidden morbid histories or something like that. Apparently, there was a huge ghost hunting craze happening on cable TV, and Loomis Company was responsible for finding the few locations left that hadn't been visited to death by paranormal investigators. Personally, I found the paranormal to be bullshit. I had full confidence that the true hell was on Earth, but it was a surprisingly well-paying job that had the full support from my therapist, so I accepted it almost immediately. Plus, with benefits like traveling and staying in 4-star hotels like the Broughton Palace, can't beat that. I walked through one of the many automatic glass doors, having already given my very sparse luggage to the bellhop to take to my room. Even the lobby was magnificent, with multiple cafes and lounges and a clear view of one of the casinos. I approached one of the women behind the check-in desk, the lines non-existent as it was the middle of the week during the off-season. Yes, I have a room reserved through Loomis Company. The name should be under Joseph Harvey, I informed the well-dressed lady as I rummaged through my wallet for the necessary credentials. She held up her hand and smiled brightly. "Oh, no need, Mr. Harvey. We've been expecting you," she replied in an ominous tone. I froze, my blood running cold. "Excuse me?" The woman laughed. Didn't mean to put you on edge, Mr. Harvey. The whole staff knows why you're here, to help us establish Broughton Palace as a haunted hotspot for TV, right? I laughed in return. "Yeah, of course." "Sorry, I wasn't expecting everyone to know why I'm here." "Oh, we're all very excited, to be honest. This place is filled with all sorts of ghost stories that the staff is dying to share with you. But rest assured, we'll let you settle in and enjoy the non-ghostly commodities the Broughton Palace has to offer. The night staff especially will give you the best experience." The woman chuckled, and with that, she gave me a selection of different cards that allowed me to gamble at the casino with money provided by the hotel, a buffet card to get food, and of course my room card. I was on the 18th floor, in room 1883. By no means was it a penthouse. In fact, I was a bit disappointed that the room was more reminiscent of a standard hotel room: 2 beds, a TV, microwave, the basics. I quickly got over my disappointment, however, as the commodities certainly made up for the lackluster room. It also had a gorgeous view of the coast that was less than a mile away from the hotel. Since I had arrived only a few hours after noon, I had plenty of daylight to burn, so I went to use my new cards extensively. The casino treated me well at first, with a few machines allowing me to win big before taking it all away, which was par for the course in my prior gambling experiences. This led me to the arcade where I found my casino card also worked and spent a ridiculous amount of time playing crane games and shooters. My growling stomach then directed me to the massive buffet, where I tried all sorts of different meats from the separated regional dishes sections, with their angel hair pasta being especially exquisite, finishing just in time for night to begin to fall and drowsiness to creep into my skull. Noticing the amount I ate and the slight layer of fat beginning to form at my stomach, I opted to take the stairs for some exercise before I took a short nap. As I entered the bottom of the stairwell, I noticed how empty and, well, haunting it was. I pulled out one of the cameras that I had brought with me and snapped a few pictures. I had taken a few earlier, but there honestly wasn't much to document other than some sad old people losing their money in the casino, so I mainly just grabbed some location shots earlier. The stairwell was giving me a completely different vibe, however. For the first time since arriving, I felt a little creeped out, and this aura of sadness filled the air. I snapped a bunch of pictures of each new floor, mostly as an excuse to give myself a breather, and when I reached floor 18, I took a few more. I turned quickly to go through the door and get back to my room, and more importantly, my bed for a nap when I saw something out of the corner of my eye. I twisted back around, with the astounding sight of nothing causing me to chuckle to myself. All this damn haunted shit making me see things. I thought aloud, shaking my head. I could have sworn I saw a figure crouching at the top of the stairwell, but it was only for a split second that it couldn't have possibly been anything but the trick of the brain. I walked through the door out of the stairwell, ignoring the quick, odd sucking sound that reminded me of sobbing as just the creaking of the door. Before I could make it to my room, however, I spotted a maid exiting from my door. She was fairly short and young, maybe a year or two younger than me, with bright blue eyes and brown hair. Normally I would have been a bit irritated as I didn't request house cleaning, nor had I been in my room long enough to cause a mess, but her cute appearance distracted me from that fact. "Oh, Mr. Harvey. My apologies, we just wanted to make sure your room was in tip-top condition for the duration of your stay here. I'll get out of your hair," she squeaked in an almost timid manner. "Does everyone here know my damn name?" I thought, but put a kind smile on my face. "Don't worry, I understand. I'm just gonna take a nap for a bit before I do my interviews for the night," I reassured her, walking past her to my door. "Do you have any stories you'd like to share later tonight?" I asked as I swiped my card and placed my hand on the handle. Her eyes lit up. "Oh yes. I've had some creepy experiences here. I'll be working on a problem in 1693 if you need to find me later tonight. Besides, it's better that way anyways, there's still daylight left. Stories like that are best experienced at night. My name is Liz, by the way," she replied giddily. I smirked at her in turn. "I'll be looking for you first then, Liz." The maid giggled some more as she winked and waved by at me as I closed my door. Ah, my bed at last, I thought as I face-planted into the mattress, looking up only to set my alarm on my phone for 2 hours, and almost immediately drifted away into sleep. Nightmares typically don't follow you into the real world, so after I awoke from a troubled sleep I naturally felt my ordeal was over. I didn't normally suffer from night terrors, but I had seen some horrific shit documenting war, so it was only natural that I had them on occasion. My mouth was dry as shit and tasted about the same, so I groggily emerged from my warm bed and headed towards the bathroom. During the process of relieving myself, I yawned, trying to understand why the feeling of dread still had yet to leave my body. A rustle from behind the shower curtain drew my attention, but after quickly yanking it back revealed nothing. I chuckled to myself, turning to face the mirror right as it exploded. It happened so swiftly I could hardly process, save for shielding my face with my arms. I slumped back, groaning in pain, but thankfully most of what hit me were embedded in my forearms. However, the horror that stepped through the broken remains of the mirror almost made me wish that the glass had blinded me. He was me, or some sort of demented version of me, emaciated with gore caked around the numerous mouths that peppered his body. I would have thought them to be tattooed if not for their incessant gnawing at the air. The false me leered from behind his wall of thick black hair, the only non-horrific difference between us. Besides the gnashing of teeth, the false me made no noise, even when his bare feet walked across the broken glass. The closer he crept, the stronger the fear that gripped my body in place held, until he was right in my face, the numerous mouths on his upper body and head licking their lips. Two of his macabre hands wrapped around my neck, and only then did the pain of the jaws in his palms chewing on my throat shock me into action, grabbing a large glass shard and jamming it into his stomach and twisting. The false me immediately let go, and his dozens of mouths screamed in anguish. "Hurt me! Hurt me!" I didn't bother to wait for his retaliation. I kicked the false me in the stomach, simultaneously driving the glass deeper into his stomach while also knocking him back, freeing me. I rushed out of the bathroom, ignoring the small glass fragments now embedded in my soles. With my eyes still locked on the bathroom entrance, I thrust my hand into my camera bag. It turned out to be a wise decision to keep watch of the bathroom. The false me crawled out, his bones snapping into place as he stood up, his numerous mouths back to their fervent gnashing. He launched himself at me, hands open to take another bite out of my neck. Bang!